We're joined in our studios by the co-founder, Niger Kids, Titi Adewusi. Thank you for joining us on News Across Nigeria.
Thank you, Lumide.
Now, with the schools closed for now, the children will probably be more familiar with Dora the Explorer than their school books. But the COVID-19 pandemic is what has caused this. This disruption is going to cause something that will affect education for quite a while. What are your thoughts on how the disruption is affecting the school system?
Okay, so the children haven't been in school since the end of March. And what has happened that was meant to be second term.
Yeah.
And technically, we should be in third term right now. So all that is put on hold. So even when schools resume, the question is, what are they resuming for? Second term or third term? So there's going to be a lot of disruptions in the calendar as a whole. And what's going to happen is that remember that the third term is usually the final year for a lot of people. So the people that are in GSS 3 are meant to be doing certain exams that will prepare them to go into SS1. The people that are in primary school are meant to be preparing for secondary school. So it's really a critical period. There are a lot of key exams that happen, but now all those exams are on hold. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. We don't know when second term is going to resume. We don't know when third term is going to really start. And when will the new academic year start? So with how COVID is, nobody really knows. Are we resuming in June? Are we resuming in July? Are we resuming in September? Or January 2021?
Quite a conundrum.
Yes, it's quite a conundrum.
What about the e-learning that some schools have taken as an alternative for now? Not all schools, some schools. How effective do you think this is for those who are taking part in it? And should it be like a policy from the Lagos state government to instruct schools to do this in lieu of us not knowing when the schools will resume?
Well, honestly, it's really a major challenge because the thing about e-learning that it requires three key factors. One is that you have light. Two is that you have a device, a smart device, and three is that you have data connectivity. And we know the factors around those three for the average Nigerian family, not even to talk of child. So that's really a major challenge in terms of e-learning. So even for the schools that have in a form way started it as a way to just keep some semblance of learning happening, they've had a lot of challenges with data because the teacher can have data, but the students don't have data. Or the data is unreliable, so they keep coming in and out of the classes, which can be very disruptive. Or we don't even have light, you know, so even when the class, so it's really been a challenge. And because it's something that they are not used to, it's been a learning process for a lot of schools. Some schools have even abandoned it. Some parents have really abandoned it. So it's really a challenge. Lagos State has also explored other options, realizing that majority of the children in Nigeria do not go to private schools. They are members of public schools, and they do not have these three factors. So they've explored other alternatives. They've explored radio. They've explored TV. But even those factors also have its challenges. Do I have a TV at home? Do I have a radio at home? So e-learning has really been, you know, it hasn't met a lot of the needs, even for the private school children. But in the end, education has to continue. You have to keep doing something, no matter how little. A number of public schools are exploring just printing out some form of worksheets for the children and getting them to come and pick it up from school. Some people are creating small groups where they go to teach. I think what's really important is that whatever means you use, you must do something rather than do nothing. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. It might not be e-learning, it depends, but you must be seen to be doing something because we really do not know when schools and in that official term will actually resume.
Some states, I think, is it Delta now, are pursuing that television alternative for schools.
But how many of us have light? You know, can we watch? Do they have TVs at home? Let's really be honest.
Not everyone has a TV.
Not everyone has a TV. So it's really a challenge. And even when things are going to resume, what you'll find out that I don't think they'll all resume at the same pace across the countries. Even in countries where, you know, things are getting better, some districts or some states say they will start at this time, others say they will start at another time. So it also means that in Nigeria, it will end up being a case-by-case basis, a state-by-case, rather than something being flat out. If it's going to be that, then it will be earlier September or even January next year.
What about the psychological impact it's having on the children? Is there one? Obviously, there has to be. Because these kids are used to going to school, and all of a sudden, there is no school. You can't even go to a park for recreation. You can't go to the mall. Yeah. Your parents are at home with you.
All day.
All day. You know, except for those on essential services. So
it's really a challenge. So for my kids at home, they're missing their friends. School is not really only about the academic learning. There's a social aspect to it. There's the meeting your friends, there's playing with you. So they are all missing that social aspect because they can't not, socialize with their friends. So they really miss that. And they have their parents on their case all day. They don't have the freedom. There's nowhere to play. So there's a lot of effect happening. I think it's also something that they need to be considered. And then there's another effect of the sudden exposure to online learning. So it's like, putting your child in a sweet or candy shop. Have you told them about the challenges and the risks with online learning? So even where there is e-learning taking place, there are online safety things also to be considered, because suddenly you're just letting your child go on Third Mainland Bridge, driving their car.
Exactly. Bound to crash.
Bound to crash. So there are a lot of issues. Even the children that go to public school, they miss that going out. They miss their friends. Some have free meals in school. So there's a lot that's going on. So they're now being caged, so to speak, at home with nothing to do.
So do you see parents having to make a concerted effort to counsel their children?
It's not only the parents. I also think that the government as a whole needs to guide the parents, because suddenly I'm doing a lot as a parent that I never had to do before. So I need the guidance. What am I going to do? So I think beyond the parents, there needs to be some guidance also for the parents. What should you be telling your child? How should you encourage them? How should you check up on their mental state? Because it's important, we are just used to going to work and coming back. So what questions should I ask my child to just check on their mental state? And what should I do when they then tell me some things, it's going on with them? So there's a lot that needs to be done. Honestly, I think it's just taking one step at a time.
And speaking of taking one step at a time, let's look at solutions. You spoke of some schools or some governments talking about preferring worksheets for their kids. That sounds like a very good idea. Yeah. Do you think a uniform decision should be taken on the part of government to instruct the educational system to make that available through the schools for the children?
I honestly think so. There must be learning that is going on. So know that everybody cannot use all the channels. So you need to explore various channels. Yeah. So I think if we can, have a general place where we print lots of the copies across the classes, and it's in the school, and says, okay, if your child can come to the school, especially for children that live near their schools, let them come, let them wear their mask, let them come forming the social distance, and then just pick it up from their teachers. Let's have worksheets for, like on a 2 weeks rotation, so that they're not coming all the time. But I think what's important is some form of learning should continue to take place.
And we hope that happens in some form or the other.
In some form or the other, yes.
Thank you so much for coming on News Across Nigeria.
Thank you for having me.
Titi Adewusi, of the co-founder Niger Kids.